Hey buddy, I'm going to attempt to make a video to show you what I did when I did my readings with my multimeter, so you best understand how I did it and everything. That's as long as my camera decides to cooperate and not freeze on me. It's been acting up. This is the meter I got today. I got it actually for free at Harbor Freight, and I had it set to that right there, ACV 200, when I was doing my test. I'm not quite sure if that's exactly what it should have been on. And then of course I had the black on common and the red on the V ohm sign / MA. I didn't have it in the one that says 10 ADC. Okay, what I did was I hooked up the board in the cabinet, hooked the JAMA harness up. I went out to Radio Shack on my way home and I stopped and got a 50,000 ohm potentiometer. I wired that up. Now here you'll get to see my wiring job. It did look a lot neater. I had it all taped together neatly and everything, but ripped everything apart so I could just look at each individual wire and everything. Basically what I did was soldered connections onto the bottoms of each of the boards and their appropriate spots, and I ran them, and I ran a male and female disconnect for all of them. That way I can actually separate the two boards if I have to when I install it or whatever. Give you a quick review of my solder work. Not the best, but they all seem to be tight and they all seem to be in the right spot. Now what I did was I took the black probe and I stuck it on the ground, which is this big wire here. I have a 18 gauge ground wire coming from the PCB to the soundboard. So I took my probe, stuck it here on the contact to ground it, and then what I did was I went and I tested each of these pins. I didn't test the solder side, I tested the component side, and I tested each of these individual pins, or at least the ones that have connections going to them. These two here on the end, red and green, are 12 volt connections. These two right here. They were testing. Now I'm sure I didn't have the multimeter set exactly correctly, because they were showing 27.2 volts. So I don't know if that's normal or not. I did notice when I ran the ground from the speaker, the ground of the speaker terminal, and I ran the red probe to one of these, it was testing like 13 volts, around where I think it should be. But either way, both of these 12 volt wires were testing 27.2. I then ran the red probe to one of these 12 volt wires, and I ran the ground to this ground wire here, just to double check, make sure the ground was good, and it was. It showed 27.2 volts again. I then grounded the black probe again, and I tested this green wire, which I believe is the end connection here. I think it is called the 5 volt connection, this one right here. And that was showing, what was that showing? 10.7. So they all seem to be getting power. Now I didn't really check the two speaker wires or the potentiometer wires. I do believe I got a little blip on one of them, but I didn't change the multimeter or anything like that. I didn't know if I had to, so I didn't really bother testing them. I was just trying to test to see if the board was getting power, which as far as I can see, it is getting power. While it's on, I believe the top red LED is solid and the bottom LED is flashing. If that means anything, I don't know. The game works okay, it powers up fine, all the ROMs test good. Something I did take notice to was this port here. You can see there's the 20 pin harness, and here is the board. This board here was warm, and compared to all the other boards, I kind of just went through and I was pushing down, and when I'm pushing on, I'm trying to see if I can get anything out of the speakers. And I noticed when I got to this one, it was noticeably warm, and none of the other ones were. So I took it out and tried like blowing on it and reseated it back in, and of course that didn't do anything. Also, this metal thing here was getting slightly warm as well. Not sure if that, once again, if that's normal or not. But I just kind of did an inspection of the board the best that I can with my limited knowledge of electronics. And I don't see any pins that are touching each other. I don't see any broken traces. I mean, there's still like flux on here from when I soldered, but I didn't clean it off yet. I didn't think that would hurt anything. All my solders may not look pretty, but they are connected pretty good. I mean, I pulled on the harnesses and they're not coming loose or anything. So all my solders seem to be holding pretty well. So either I'm thinking I got a bad soundboard, or hopefully you can tell me maybe something else to check. I mean, I only paid $60 for the PCB and the soundboard together, so it wasn't really a bad deal. Even if the soundboard doesn't work, it's not like I really lost a lot of money. But it would just be nice to not have to get a new soundboard and go through all this again. I gotta solder all those connections back on. Here I'll show you the flip side of the PCB, all my solder connections. Pretty ugly looking, but did the job. None of them are touching. These two are close on the end, but don't appear to be touching. And once again, I don't see, besides some flux on here, I don't see anything else wrong with the board. Everything looks good. Don't see any broken traces. None of the pins seem to be touching each other that I took notice of. And of course, I tried playing with the sound pot while it was on, and I got nothing out of it. So I mean, I put my ear up, like you said, to the speakers, and there's just nothing. It's not even, it doesn't ding when it comes on. It's just dead. So I figured I'd make this video to show you what was going on, and hopefully give me some ideas what to do from here on out. Kind of sucks. I was hoping I'd be able to get hooked up and test it and everything. It may seem like I'm making progress, but it just seems like I keep fix something and then run into another problem. But yeah, just let me know if you can have any other ideas for what I should test, or I mean, if worst comes to worst, if you're willing to, I can mail this soundboard to you. And I mean, I'll mail you the PCB and the soundboard and hook it up in one of your cabinets if you still have a cabinet to hook it up in, and test it yourself. Maybe, maybe, I don't know. I mean, the sound works fine with my MK2, so I'm assuming, everything's fine with the speaker and everything. It's just, I don't know, maybe when you got a hold of it, you'd be able to take a closer look, an expert look at it, and, maybe see something that I did wrong, or something that I'm missing. Thanks for watching.